Good morning, family, and welcome to the Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living live streaming from beautiful Pasadena, California in the USA. I am Reverend Michael Bernard Lattimore, your guide on the side, and I am honored to welcome you to our fabulous streaming service this morning. This afternoon, this evening, whenever you choose to be with us. Today, we are thrilled to have with us the incomparable Tina Meeks. Our musical director and licensed practitioner is Chris Glick. We've got Louise Mucha as the Facebook chat moderator. Please be sure to chat each other up, to give each other that deep love and joy and welcoming in the Facebook chat room. Peter Bedard is moderating our YouTube live streaming if you choose to go to YouTube and watch the service. And also in the Zoom room, our beloved Mindy Morrison is facilitating the Zoom room hosting of the Facebook live streaming. And today, our licensed practitioner is our beloved Pat Roach. She'll be leading us in the inspirational reading and the invocation. The theme for this month is Mindfulness for Mavericks. And when I first heard the term Maverick, I immediately thought about a television show from back in the caveman days. But a maverick is someone who stands for truth, someone who's a nonconformist, a cutting-edge leader on the verge, the edge, the forefront of human evolution. The theme this month is mindfulness for Mavericks, and the day's wisdom talk is just breathe. So, please join with me as we prepare for the invocation offered by our beloved practitioner emeritus, Patricia Roach, and the invocation and inspirational reading. So please join with me as we just breathe.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Good morning, Ahiah. It is wonderful to have you with us this morning. It's a beautiful day out, and we welcome you with open arms and thank you for being here with us to share this service. My name is Patricia Roach, and I am one of the practitioner emeritus here at Ahiah. I will be giving the invocation and the readings for our service. With so much going on in our world today, it is important that we ground and center ourselves in the love and peace, knowing that as each one of us find peace within, we give peace out into our world. The theme this month is Mindfulness for Mavericks. And we know that mindfulness is about being fully awake in our lives. It is about perceiving the exquisite vividness of each moment, for this moment is all we really have. We also gain immediate access to our own powerful inner resources for insight, transformation, and healing. That quote is by Jon Kabat-Zinn. So mindfulness is simply being aware of what is happening right now, without wishing it were different. Enjoying the pleasant without holding on when it changes, and we know it will change. Being with the unpleasant without fearing it will always be this way, which it won't, is mindfulness as well. That quote is by James Baraz. So as we know, change is constant, and we are witnessing major change in our world today. Our topic is just breathe. Just breathe. So I invite you to take time to breathe right here and right now. So let us turn within and just breathe. Become aware of our inhale and our exhale. And if you choose, you can close your eyes or you can leave them open and look down. But just concentrate on your breath, knowing that your breath is the breath of spirit. Just breathe. So as I turn within this morning, I know that God is and I am. God is truth and is truly all that there is. So anything that is unlike the love, the peace, and the joy that God is an illusion. It is not real, even though it appears to be. I stand in truth, knowing that love prevails, that peace is here now within each one of us. And as we take time to concentrate on our breath, we realize that this moment is the only moment that we have. So please take time and just breathe as I go into the invocation. Knowing that God is and I am. I know that God is peace, God is love. And God is the cooperation of all human beings. So as I know that as God's nature is my nature is love, is peace, is joy, cooperation, and order. I know this to be true for me. It is also true for everyone here. It is true for our world in the absolute. So as there is only one mind, and that mind is God's mind, that mind is my mind now. It is also the mind of everyone that is here. And as I speak my word for this service, I speak a word of loving, of peace, and of joy, knowing that our ministers, both Reverend Scott and Reverend Michael Lattimore, are divinely guided and directed to provide whatever it is Spirit needs them to provide. And that each one of us that are participating in this service are receptive to that loving, to that peace, and to the words that are spoken. I bless each and every musician and every volunteer and everyone that has participated in making this service possible. I know that everyone that is taking time and participating in this service virtually is blessed. And I know that the love that perpetuates at Ahiah is felt with everyone that is participating in this service. It is that warmth and that peace and that love that you feel as you breathe in and as you breathe out. So knowing this as our truth, knowing that this service is divinely ordained, and that everyone that is participating in it is divinely ordained to be here and participate, for there are no accidents in God. I truly give thanks knowing this truth. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. So breathing in, we calm our body. And breathing out, we can always smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. So my quote for today's service is from Job. It's from the Bible, Job 33:4. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty has given me life. And from Amit Ray, which is from Om Chanting and Meditation, if you want to conquer the anxiety of life, live in the moment, live in the breath. So I thank you for participating, and I know that breathing is a gift of nature, and I am very grateful for this wonderful gift and for you being here with us today for this service.
Hi, Ahiah. As you know, I'm Tina Meeks, and I'm happy to be here today in the space where we spend time in praise and worship and sharing and growing together. I only wish that you were here too, but I'm happy to be here at this time, especially given what we're going through in our country. We need each other. And I'm here to share what I do, and I hope that you're out there doing the same in your communities, that you are speaking up for what you know is in your heart the right thing. That's all that you can do is lead by love. This song reminds me of a time when our country was going through turmoil before, and it spoke to the hearts of people. He ain't heavy. Enjoy. The road is long, with many a winding knows where. But I'm strong enough to carry him. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. So on we go. His welfare is my concern. No burden is he to bear. We'll get there. And I know he would not encumber me, 'cause he ain't heavy, he's my brother. So if I'm laden at all, I'm laden with sadness that everyone's heart is not filled with gladness of love for one another. It's a long, long road from which there is no return. So while we are on our way to there, why not share? And the load, it doesn't weigh me down, no, at all. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. He's my brother. He ain't heavy, he's my brother.
So thank you, Tina. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. That's a wonderful song, and the lyrics are so true, because when we come together knowing each other as our brothers and sisters in the oneness that God is, I know absolutely in the shared responsibility of holding each other up that he ain't heavy. No one is heavy. We have what we need to do collectively to hold everybody up high. My name is Reverend Scott Olson. I'm the senior minister here at Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living, and I want to welcome you to this virtual space that we've created on Facebook and YouTube and Zoom, all these different platforms that we have out there for you to come in and be with us and see us. If you're part of our regular community, I'm so happy that you're here today and that you have the opportunity to chat with people that you know and that you love. And if you're new at our community, if you found us on the internet, we've only been streaming for a couple of months. And if you've recently found us, please chat away. Come to one of our happenings at Ahiah, one of our virtual events. We would love to get to know you better. And you can get to know us a little bit by going to our website or to our social media sites on Facebook and Instagram. And our website is ahiah.com, AHIAH.com, ahiah.com. And you can subscribe to our newsletter by going to ahiah.com/subscribe and filling out a form, and then you'll get a weekly newsletter from us. And we would love to chat with you. So the theme for the month of June is mindfulness for Mavericks. And you're probably asking yourself, well, what exactly is a maverick? And the best definition I have for people anyway is that it's a person who does what people normally don't do in situations. They do something different. And so mavericks are these people who are kind of out there on their own, doing their own thing. Now, this person that I'm showing you on this picture here, he's a surfer on this huge wave. And this wave is in a place called Maverick. It's a shoal that is next to Half Moon Bay up by San Francisco. So it's in Northern California. And this particular shoal, because of the way the land is laid and the water comes in and everything, it will regularly create 15 to 30 foot waves. And so this guy here, he's riding a monster wave, and I think that surfer is a maverick. Now, I recently went to a website that had a great definition of mavericks. It really had 7 attributes of a maverick, and I'm going to share 1 or 2 with you each week through the month of June. And the 2 that I've picked for this month, this week, the first one is they believe in their own vision and ideas for the world. And so a person that exemplifies that, I think, is Steve Jobs, the former CEO of Apple. And, even after he did the iPad, or iPod, I mean, these wonderful music machines, I thought that was great. And then he came up with this crazy idea to take these flip phones and a computer and kind of mash them together and create what he called the iPhone. And when I first heard of it, I thought, why would anybody want that? How fast could it be? How much could you really do on that thing? And it ends up, well, you can do a lot. At least now you can. And so he led the world towards a brand new revolutionary idea. And I think the world's a little bit better for it because of this new technology and the new capabilities that we have individually to get to the net now. There's a slide by a self-styled maverick. His name is Logan Paul, and he's actually kind of a controversial figure. He is what we would call an influencer nowadays. So he's somebody that is out on the internet. He also happens to be an actor, has a couple of films out. But his internet presence is really what he's known for. And in his internet presence on YouTube, he has 25 million subscribers to his YouTube site. That's a lot of subscribers. And then on top of that, they count the views that he's gotten, and he has over 5 billion with a B views. And so that's a whole lot of influencing that he's done out there, I think. Well, he says this. He says, mavericks see life through the lens of possibility. The lens of possibility. I think that's wonderful. When we can see and look through this lens and see more clearly than the people around us who are seeing a bit of a blurry image, I think that's great. And that, I think, is one of the aspects of a maverick. Now, he follows it up with "We Dent the Universe," which to me has a lot of hubris in it. And so maybe that's what makes him controversial. But definitely Mavericks have an impact on the world. Now, the second attribute for a Maverick is they have great intuition. And a person that I don't know Rosa Parks. I've never met her, never talked to her. But I think that maybe she was led by her intuition at that moment when she was on that bus and people were telling her to stand up and she stayed sat. I think that she was either at the right place at the right time to make history, or she followed her intuition. I'm going to go with she followed her intuition. So we get the opportunity over the next few weeks to kind of look at these Mavericks and see how we as a Maverick can help to change the world around us, to look at the world with new possibilities. And so I'm going to ask Reverend Mike to come on up and tell us a little bit about what he knows about mindful Mavericks and Just Breathe, the talk title for today.
Many blessings, family. Right now, I'm hearing, in this turbulent time, many voices inside of me. One of the main voices I realize is a voice from the past, and it's a voice that's saying, "You better not cry." You see, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I witnessed a lot of traumatizing events as a young man, and I had developed this internal regulator, a guardian, that protected me from being weak, from being vulnerable, from being a victim of those streets. And so it's very challenging to allow my feelings to just be what they are. And to a great extent, it feels just overwhelming with the waterfall of emotions, the sadness, the outrage, the anger, the fear. It's very challenging to sort out all of these emotions, and being sensitive energetically. My aunt that raised me, she used to say, "Oh yeah, Mike, he's just such a sensitive child." They tried to drill that out of me, but they just couldn't, because I feel what I feel, and today I am free to feel what I feel. And so I'm working through it just like many of you are. And in the midst of this voice that is trying to suppress this overwhelming emotion and the confusion and chaos inside, there is another voice that I can hear, a very clear, still small voice. And this voice shows up when I'm able to still myself, draw a breath, and just ask myself, what is it that I know for sure? What is it that I know for sure? And my breath, which is connected to my heart, allows me to hear the voice of truth inside of me. And I want to share with you 3 things that I know for absolutely sure. The first one is that there is only one breath, and that breath is God's breath. It is whole, it's perfect, it's complete. It is my breath now. It is your breath. It is the breath that breathes into me the inspiration of life. And what I know for sure is that when we come in from the spirit realm and we show up as little babies, like little Uriah, Deborah Landry and Janet Landry's little grandbaby, when we show up, the first thing we do on this realm, in this planet, is we breathe. We breathe in a deep breath of life, straight from the heart of God. And everybody around us smiles. Or if you see a picture of little Uriah, it'll make you smile too, because it reminds us that this breath of life, it comes straight from the heart of God. Yes. The second thing that I know for absolutely sure is that God is. And because God is, I am. And when I can stand in the truth of that knowingness, then I can throw my hands up and say, look, this is beyond my pay grade to figure out. But I know that there's a force for good. And I know that God's plan is always good, that God always wins. It reminds me of a scripture in Genesis 50:20, when the brothers of Joseph, who had sold him into slavery, found out that he was the big cheese. They were in serious panic. Joseph had something for them. He said to him, "Fear not, for I am a servant of God." And that's something that I know for absolutely sure about myself, that I am a servant of God. And I'm inviting you to know that for yourself, that I am a servant of the Most High. He went on to say, "But as for me, you thought evil against me, but God meant it for good, to do as he has done on this day, to save many lives." And that's what I know for sure, family. That God is, I am, and that God meant it for good. And you know, out of this whole realm of sadness and racialized trauma, the final thing that I am convinced of is okay, now that I have silenced the phone, got the dog put up, the third and final thing that I know for sure reminds me of this Adinkra symbol. It's called Ginomi, to know God. I know absolutely without a doubt that I am connected to God. I know that right where I am, God is. And when I can just breathe and take a moment to focus on that breath, I am reminded that I breathe because God breathes me. That I am because God is. God is infusing me in each moment of my life with this wonder-filled gift of breath, breathing into me the light, the love, and the awareness, the awakening that there is a far greater thing happening than I can behold. God's plan is far too great for me to see all in once. And so it's like $1 million plan, and I get it a nickel at a time on an as needed to know basis. This loving presence breathes into me its intention, its light. And if I can remember to just breathe, I can download those instructions and be available on a moment-to-moment basis. Because right now, that's about as far ahead as I can go. Moment to moment. Remembering to just breathe. Remembering that there is one breath. That breath is God's breath. That breath is perfect breath. And that breath is my breath now. It is your breath now. Let us remember to just breathe together, to be open and honest with each other, to indulge in self-care. Take care of yourself. If you need to call somebody up, call them up and just tell them how you're feeling. If you need to cry, create space for yourself to just allow that primal cry to emerge through your heart. It's very cleansing. It's like allowing God to wash your face. And know that we are getting through this. That God has a plan. That maybe somebody meant it for evil, but God meant it for good, to save many lives. Just breathe, family.
Thank you, Reverend Mike. That's such a wonderful power talk. It really moves me. And I also want to say thank you to you for taking over last week and doing such a wonderful service and giving me a little bit of rest. It's much appreciated. Next week, Reverend Mike's going to take a rest from doing Power Talks, and we're going to have Reverend Victoria Bomberry come see us. She is an Indigenous minister, and she's going to tell us a little bit about how that has been in her life. So we look forward to seeing her then. Now, this week's talk title, as Reverend Mike has said, is Just Breathe. And I think when we kind of get into our maverickness, we have to remember to just breathe sometimes. Now, I've always used that in my own life and also in my life with my sons. I'm the father of 3 sons. My youngest is almost grown, fully grown. He's 18 years old. He's only got 1 more year of being a teenager. My other 2 sons are in their early 30s, so they're well beyond that time of testosterone overload that happens, when you're in your teens. And so I've always counseled them when that happens that their best defense, their best way of getting re-anchored in the moment is to just breathe. We have on the slide here a saying by Thich Nhat Hanh, who says, "Feelings come and go like clouds on a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." And I think absolutely we want to anchor ourselves on the ground. We want to be grounded. We don't want to anchor ourselves to, clouds in a windy sky, our feelings that are blowing all over the place. We want to be grounded into the ground where it's nice and stable. And I think we especially want to ground ourselves with our breath when our experience is maybe painful. And our breath, it centers us, right? That's why we breathe, is to get centered. And what I found in my own life is when I don't breathe, it means I'm not centered. When I'm holding my breath, it means I'm not centered. It's kind of like when we watch a little child, and he's got his favorite toy and somebody comes and takes it from him. And he just stands there and he's like, the tears are welling up and everything, and he can't breathe. He's, it's a sad thing to watch, right? You want to go over and comfort and hold them. And most important, you want to allow them to catch their breath and to breathe again. For myself, I know that when I feel grief, when I feel loss, that I have this catch that happens to my breath. It seems to just kind of get caught in my throat. And for those of you who have been here for a little while, you probably already know that my mother passed away a year ago now. And still, when I think of my mom, I find that I stop breathing for a moment. And I have to remember to breathe. I have to remember to come back to my center. Joanne McLean, who says in the book Learning to Breathe, she says, "Yes, the pain never fades. And it's the hardest thing you'll ever do, but eventually you learn to breathe again." And I know that I'm learning to breathe again, slowly, surely, one step at a time. So I consider myself to be a bit of a maverick myself. That's been my experience as a child and as an adult. Now, the term maverick, it's actually named after a person, Samuel Augustus Maverick. He was alive in the 1800s. He lived in Texas, and in fact, he owned huge swaths of land in Texas. And Texas is a pretty big state, so that means he owned a lot of land. And he was known in those days as the only cattle rancher who wouldn't brand his cattle. Everybody else, when new calves came, they went out there and they branded them pretty early in their lives so that they would know that they were theirs. Well, Samuel Maverick, he didn't believe in that. So every cow, every bull out there on the range that didn't have a brand, well, they were his in his eyes. That's pretty self-fulfilling. It's pretty much good for him and good for nobody else, which means that we have to be a little careful of the mavericks that we allow into our lives. There are a lot of different mavericks out there, different types of mavericks, but there's one kind of maverick that I think we need to be careful of. These are the mavericks who believe that their ideas, whatever they believe, they're great. Anything they think is beautiful. And when we allow those types of mavericks to be the people that lead us forward, to be our way showers towards the newness that we're going to, especially in a time like this, I just don't think that's the right thing for us individually or for our world. I think we need to have mindful mavericks versus malevolent mavericks, right? If you're just going to come up with some different terms. What is a mindful maverick? I'm just going to explain about that one. To me, a mindful maverick is a person that is open to the mind that God is, to the mind that Spirit is, to that still small voice inside of them. And they do what that voice says. And when they are a mindful maverick, what that means is they kind of live by that old Christian saying, it's not my way, it's thy way. And I'm very clear for me that thy way is not thy as in a God that's outside of me. Instead, I recognize and know the God that lives within. That's the thy that I'm saying thy to. And that thy, what it really is it's my own individualized expression of the divine that is me. It's my soul that's whispering to me. And it's whispering to me that it wants to have more love, more peace, more harmony in the world. That's what my soul whispers to me. I think that's actually what everybody's soul whispers to them. I think it's our soul calling for us to be in the world in that way of creating more love and peace and harmony in the world. And it may be calling us to take action. I don't mean the kind of action that's only internal where, we're changing our thinking, we're changing our beliefs. That's a necessary it's our self-care. It's our own to do for us. But sometimes I think we're called to take action out in the world. And we're called to be that loving presence in the world. If it's my way rather than thy way, then I think that's when we're listening to our ego, when we do my way. We're hearing our ego tell us all the things that it wants and that it thinks it needs, and to accumulate more and more of those things that it wants and that it thinks it needs. And so the little I within us starts going crazy. The crazy roommate ends up being in control. And that's what we see from these mavericks who are out there who believe in themselves so much. On the other hand, the mavericks that believe in it's thy way, well, These are people who sometimes look like they are putting other people's good ahead of theirs. But I don't believe it, because it's been my experience every time it looks like I'm doing something for somebody else that puts me somehow at a detriment. I'm not getting to do what I was planning on doing, or I'm giving of my resources, my time, my talent, my treasure, that in the end, it always comes back to me tenfold. And so in this saying by Lawrence Binion, he says, we too should make ourselves empty, that the great soul of the universe may fill us with its breath. I think when Spirit fills us with its breath, that we are truly, truly alive in that moment. That's when we live from our heart, from our soul, from that place within us that has a purpose. It's when we're living our lives from a place that is creating and participating with Spirit in a way that creates more love in the world, more peace in the world, more harmony in the world. And it's calling us to know each other as our brother and our sister in the oneness that God is. And so today I want to end with just recognizing the challenges that have been in each and every one of our lives over the last few months, and most particularly over the last couple of weeks. I think that we need to be mindful, right? We need to be mindful Mavericks. We need to just breathe in order to help us get back to center. And I have a quote here from Reverend Jane Beach, who's one of the Centers for Spiritual Living ministers. And she says this: ships don't sink because of the water outside of them. Ships sink because the water gets in them. Don't let what's happening around you get inside and weigh you down. Let's all stay afloat. Let's know that to be the truth of ourselves. Let's keep the heavy waters outside. When we are that little ship that's showing here, the little paper boat, and what's ahead of us is the shoals. What we need to do is we need to know that Spirit is there keeping us afloat. It's not that we build big barriers around us and we don't let anything in. It's just that we recognize what is the love that God is and what isn't. We recognize that everything around us is filled with the love that God is, as the love that God is, and that it's all happening for our best and highest in the moment, because in every moment, each one of us is doing the best we can to fulfill our needs. And so as we sit in that little paper boat and know that Spirit keeps us afloat, that's when we really, truly, truly trust in God. So now if you would join me in saying the affirmation that's showing on your screen. I intend, speak, and act as a spiritual maverick, doing what is mine to do and manifesting a world that works for all. And so as you go out into your week this week, what I would like you to remember is to just breathe. When things around you, you see things in the news, in your neighborhood, in your family, wherever it is, whatever doesn't quite seem loving, just breathe and reconnect to the love source that is within you. And then what does it look like to be a mindful maverick for you? Think about that. Take that into your meditations, take it into your prayers, and then listen to that still small voice and see, is there some action that you're being called to do? What is it for you to do? And then recognize when we're taking on waters of the events around us, when our boat starts to feel heavy with the waters from outside coming in. Well, just breathe through it and recognize that Spirit is always there to support you, to help you to get, to bail your boat out if need be. And if you are feeling at all at a loss, what I want you to know, as always, is that Spirit is always there to guide you. Thank you, and namaste. And so now I would like to ask you to join me in a prayer, not just for us, but for this entire world. That in this moment, in this time that we're in right now, I am recognizing that there is in all of this only one life, one power, one presence. This life that we call Spirit, that we call God. I am knowing that life as all that there is, as living through us and as us in every moment. There is no separation. I am the life that God is. You are that same life. And so all of the love and the peace and the joy of the universe, it flows through you and it flows through me because it flows as us and through us. We are that life itself. We can never be separated from the love that God is. There can never be a barrier between us and the love that God is. And so it's from that place of knowingness that I speak my word right here, right now. I am knowing in this moment that there is a peace that is eternal, a peace that is just right for each one of us. It's a place of rest and respite for us if we're out there in the world. It's a place of safety when we are feeling challenged. It's a place within us that knows nothing but the stillness of God. I am knowing that there is a harmony that is the truth, that is back of all things in this universe. And that harmony is the life that God is, moving through us and as us beautifully and easily. We are each a string on a harp. We are each plucked and vibrating to the right frequency that creates a harmony for this world. I am knowing that's the truth of who we came here to be. I am knowing that we are supported in being that in harmony at all times in our lives. And I am knowing that the God that I know, the Spirit that I know within me and within you, is supporting not just me, it's supporting this entire world. It is moving us forward, ever evolving upwards towards higher and higher ways of experiencing and aligning with the love and the peace and the joy that God is. I am knowing that the wholeness and order that God is the truth of each and every one of us. And so as we are out in this world and there is a virus, we recognize that that is a truth, but we know that there is a revealing of a healing within us that knows always how to take this body and move it towards the way that it is supposed to be. Every cell and every fiber of our bodies, it knows what we need to do, what it needs to do in order to live as the wholeness and order that God is. Nothing needs to be told, anything. It just needs to reveal what is already there, is already the truth of it. And so for knowing all of this is the truth of me and you and this world, I just give thanks. And I release this prayer to the law, knowing that it's already fulfilled in the mind that God is. And I say life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. And so now I'd like to go ahead and do our conscious contribution. I am so, so grateful for the support that has been coming in from all of the people that are here, our Ahiah members, the people who have pledged their contributions to Ahiah. I'm so grateful for the continued support that each of you has given Ahiah. And so I'm knowing in this moment that we don't have a basket to go around, but we do have ways that you can contribute and help us in a conscious way, help Ahiah to fulfill its mission, to be a place of love and peace and joy in this world, to help us to spread this message out through this teaching that we teach here, this philosophy that we partake of, and for helping us to connect more broadly and more widely out in the world. And so I am knowing that all of your gifts, all of your contributions have been there in that light. And so if you take them virtually and hold them in your hand and repeat after me, you can see it on the, actually repeat with me because you can see it on the screen here. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy and confidence and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving, as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen.
Hello again. It's great to be back, and it was wonderful being with you today. I hope that you'll have a wonderful week. I encourage you to follow the words, the advice of this next song. Put a little love in your heart. Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, so please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Yes, another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. We want the world to know we won't let hatred show. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Yeah. Take a good look around. And if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide, you will let kindness be your guide. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Yes, put a little love in your heart. That's what you gotta do. Put a little love in your heart. Yes, put a little love in your heart. We can feel it from a distance. Put a little love in your heart. Come on, everybody. Put a little love. Put a little love. Put a little love in your heart. That's all you gotta do is put a little love. Put a little love. Put a little love in your heart. Sing with me. Come on, Ahiah. Put a little love. Put a little love. Put a little love in your heart. I know you can do it. Put a little love. Put a little love. Last time. Put a little love in your heart. Yeah, don't you feel like you're in church? Let's give Chris a hand. God bless you. Love you, everybody. Bye.
So now's the time to do a few announcements. I want to start off by telling you about the Women's Circle. It's going to be Friday night, June 12th, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And we're going to have Dr. Elizabeth Alanis. She's going to be presenting the empowering gifts of your four allies. She's going to be telling you about your four internal allies, which are synonymous with the four directions in the shamanic path. And she's going to be telling you about how you can use these to empower your life in all different ways. Please join us by going to ahiah.com/virtual and selecting the Zoom button there to get you into the class. Next, I just want to invite you to come to our Foundations class. This will be week 2. It's the last week that you can add. And Foundations is a 10-week class which teaches you to have spiritual tools for your toolbox, which you can use throughout your life in many, many ways in order to create a life of your dreams. So come on down, join us. You can go to ahiah.com/classes in order to find out more about the Foundations class and also to hit the register button to get the information you need for the class.
Good morning, everybody. This is Reverend Diana Lee. I want to let you know that our class, Generating Wealth and 21 Days to Personal Riches No Failure Diet, was amazing last week, and we're still open to take a couple more people this week if you're interested. To find out more information, go to our website, www.ahiah.com/classes. There you can find all the information and registration.
And so now let's do our benediction. And so if you'll read with me, something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it. I am it, and I share it, just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. And so I would love to have you join us in fellowship in our Zoom room. You can find the link to our Zoom room by going to ahiah.com/virtual and would love to see you there. Thank you. If not, then I'll see you next week. Thank you and namaste.